This video will be looking at national income, and in this video we'll just concentrate on the terminologies that are in national income so that we can understand fully what national income is all about. And in my next video I shall we shall solve a question, and I'll show you how you can solve national income faster and get accurate answers. So there are things that you must know about national income. There are things like Y is equal to E, meaning that my income is equal to what? To my expenditure. So if, for example, if they say Y is equal to C plus I plus G, where C is the consumption, I is the investment, and G is the government expenditure, then we are also saying that E is also what? C plus I plus G. Okay, so that is the first terminology. And if you also some topics in 140, they're also related to topics in 110, what is economics. So you'll find out that in economics, when you start doing macro, there are parts where you talk about exports and imports, and you have a general formula that looks at expenditure is equal to consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus exports minus imports, and this becomes a general formula. Apart from that, let's just quickly look at I think tax. So we talk a little bit about tax, and I'll emphasize about taxation. So now about taxation, if for example in a question you have T, a small letter T, it will mean that taxation, by the way, affects our income in that when you get your income and they remove tax from your income, that income is no longer just income, it becomes disposable income. Okay, so when you have a small letter T, then your disposable income is equal to Y minus TY. So in short, our disposable income becomes 1 minus TY. We are just factorizing Y, okay, since Y is common. So our disposable income formula becomes that. Okay, so when you have a small letter T in the equation, just consider that formula. But what happens when we have a big letter T? Okay, so when you have a big letter T in your formula, you must understand that our disposable income now becomes Y minus T. So this becomes your disposable income, and whatsoever income that you're going to have after we remove tax, that is a disposable income. Let me just explain a little bit about disposable income now. Disposable income, this is just the money that is left for you to consume. For example, let's say you have 1,000, you get 1,000 per month. Per month. Then they tell you to say, okay, tax is 100 kwacha. So when you move 100 kwacha, the remaining 900, this is the amount that is available for you to either spend or consume. So that's the reason why we also look at the marginal propensity to consume and marginal propensity to do what? To spend. At the end of the day, marginal propensity to consume and marginal propensity to spend must be equal to 1, but we shall look at this maybe later. So moving on with national income, we've talked about the big letter T and we've talked about the small letter t, to which we've said they are treated differently according to how they appear in our question. Apart from that, another thing that you must understand about national income is actually when we are talking about the IS schedule and the LM schedule. So I'll explain more about that when when solving a question. So now there are other things such as MS and MD. Now, MS means money supply and MD means money demand. So, when your money supply is equal to money demand, which means in the money market, you have an equilibrium state. So when MS is equal to MD, then we are talking about an equilibrium state, right? So if, for example, in a question they just give you MS, and in the question they also give you something like L1 and L2, then you must add up L1 and L2 to form up money demand. What am I talking about? Let me just explain a little bit. For example, in a question they give you MS as 1000 and MD they didn't give you, but what they'll do is that they'll just give you L1 and say this is 10 minus 0.3y, for example. Then L2 is actually, let's say, let's just say 50 for practice sake. So what you're going to do is you are going to add this one and that one, so to have your MD. So according to that, we can say MD is equal to L1 plus L2. Okay. Apart from that, another terminology that we must look at, so these are things that are very important in national income. And when we are talking about national income, the other thing that we must look at is the rates. So mostly they will tell you to find the income and the rates. Okay, so when finding the income and finding when finding the income and finding the rate, we normally have two formulas, and from there we find our rather we have two equations where we find our income and our rate using simultaneously using any method. So in most of my calculations, when finding the income and the rate, I'll be using Cramer's rule, which is the simplest, and it will give you an accurate answer when finding income and rates. Yeah. What else can we look at before we solve one question? I think these that we've talked about are the major things that we'll be looking at under national income. So we said we have the consumption and everything. So let me now look at a question to which we can solve. Then after that we can say, okay, we are done with national income.